since I'm the adult on the floor, let me explain why Tim is coming up. I don't know if everybody knows why Tim is honored to be here today. Tim is one of our seniors. In fact, Tim is a very impressive man. I haven't known Tim for many years, but knowing Tim, I'm proud to know Tim. Tim is a man who knows what he wants in life, he knows how to set goals, and he knows how to work toward them. And despite any kind of obstacle or conflict, Tim doesn't see those as a breaking point in his life, but he sees them as a jumping off point. Tim is very impressive. Tim, I am glad to know you, and I'm excited to hear your testimony.
Thank you. Alrighty, people, how's everyone doing today? Yeah, okay. So, as you already know, I am a senior here. I've been going here for 4 years, so since 9th grade. And, yeah, today I'm speaking. Normally, seniors have to speak, so I'm here. But normally, when seniors speak, they always talk about some experience they had here at school. Like last year, Austin McDonald, you probably don't know him, but he was talking about how ghetto the school was and everything like that. But I won't be talking about that. I will be talking about an experience, however, more recent one. When I went to the hospital, you probably all know about that. And then a revelation I had once I got out is a renewal in faith. So today we'll be taking it from Genesis 1 through 5. So in Genesis 1, all right, first, who can tell me what Genesis 1 says? Anyone?
In the beginning,
God created the heavens and the earth.
Okay, good. All right. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now, this one sentence, what does that tell us about God? Anything at all?
He's a creator.
Right?
He created the world.
Right? But what does that help us see about God? What? I'll just tell you. He's all powerful. All right. Now, this is very important in the aspect of faith. All right. In another part, it said, and God said. Now, let me write this down on the board. All right. Well, whatever, I'll just do that. Into the whole life aspect of it yet, but all right. What's a very important word in this sentence right here? Said, exactly. Said. That also tells that God is all powerful, because I don't know about you all, but I can't speak something into existence. That'd be cool, but I can't. All right, so we know that God is all powerful, he can do anything and everything he wants to do. Now, in the New Testament, just some more examples. You have God healing the blind man, the paralyzed man. You have God, when he was sleeping and the disciples were out sailing on the lake, he stopped the storm. And then, see, in the Old Testament, you have the Israelites, you have parting the Red Sea, manna, you have the birds that they caught for food, water coming out of the rock. Sorry. Yeah, all this stuff. And I think the most wonderful of God's gifts to us is life in general. That's a very large miracle in itself. But one thing I want to point out is why God would perform these miracles. Why would he take the time to provide food for the Israelites, have water coming out of a rock? Why would he stop the storm on the lake with the disciples? Why would he perform miracles in front of the Pharisees' eyes? Why would he do any of this? One common theme that all these people had was they had little faith. They had, the disciples, one, did have little faith. Well, I'm not sure about that, but they did have some doubts about God and what he could do. And especially the Israelites, God's chosen people, they did have very high doubts. But the reason I think that God would do all these miracles for them was to stir up the faith in them. It was to provide something that they could go on, something that was legitimate and that they did believe in. So, relating my story to this, before my aneurysm happened, I had very little faith, just like the Israelites did. You know, another good example would be when Moses went up on Mount Sinai and he didn't come back down for so many days, and they built a golden god. Okay, I was kind of like that. You know, I still had that much faith, but I prayed to God to transform me. I prayed for Him to change me, but I never really pursued that myself, and that is a very, very important aspect. If you pray for it, you have to go for it yourself. So, on September 23rd, I kind of got a kick in the rear end as far as changing my life. And once I got out of the hospital, everything came into perspective. Everything changed very dramatically for me. And let's see what I was going to say after that. But once I got out of the hospital, I started reading. I immediately dived into my Bible. Dove into my Bible, sorry. And I went to start going to Pastor Man's church, and he was preaching on Genesis, actually. And during this whole sermon, you know, I've read Genesis very many times before this, so it was just kind of, you know, wasn't really into my Bible a whole lot. But once I got into the beginning of Genesis, I thought, gosh, and God said, "Let there be light." You know, that is a huge aspect of what God is, why you should have faith, because He can create light when there is no sun. He can create stars. He can create the heavens and the earth. He can do anything He wants to do. And so, I mean, that in itself is extremely powerful. It's very moving, and you know, every time that something, trial comes across, or something hard, hard time, something like that, I always refer back to this verse because God can do anything. You have to have faith that He'll provide for you. So, another thing is that to have faith. Every Christian's goal is to serve God. So in order to have, it's good to have faith so He can work through you. We're all designed to worship God, to know Him, and so that we will believe in Him. Okay, so in my summary, just going back over everything again. All right, so we already know that God can do anything because He can just say things and they will happen. He is all-powerful. Creation, you have the Israelites, disciples, and then everyday life. So there, we should have faith in Him. We should believe in Him, and we should always, always believe in Him. He has all the glory in the world. He created us. And, okay, when I lived in Washington, for our youth group, we had this one event where we all went around to these different groups, and one of them was about integrity. You have to have integrity in order to stand up for God. You have to know what you're going to do. You have to know that you can stand up against faith or sin. You have to know all that stuff. But anyway, that's all I have today. So let's close with prayer, guys. All right. God, I thank You for today. I thank You I was able to speak, and I pray that, even though it's probably a little boring, I pray that this will have an impact on everyone's life, and I pray that we will have a good rest of the day in Your name. I pray. Amen.
Good morning. My name is Bill Balzano, and I am a 7th grade student at the upper school. On behalf of my classmates, I'd like to welcome each of our rising 6th graders. Just may be the brightest collective group we've got on our campus, with the exception of the administrators. And fact, where were the administrators on it? We have one. I want to introduce a person who wants to make a presentation on behalf of our school for him. There was nothing boring about that presentation. It was a terrific presentation, And when you speak from the heart and when you've had an experience with God, it's nice to hear that expression come out authentically. And glad to hear it. We have a principal in this building. She's a little lady about this tall. She has a big bun of hair on her back, her head, and some would say she's got a lot of hair on her back as well, but I don't know that. By the way, her husband, Dr. Randy Ballard, Dr. Randy Wood is here this morning, and would you raise your hand so that I can introduce the husband? Does she have hair on her back? Oh, okay, just checking. You never quite know. What we want as a leader of the upper school is a person who works well with a quality faculty. We have a wonderful group of people here who teach. And for our rising sixth graders, with the faculty members, just hold your hand up so that we can see you. You'll get to know these faculty members better. Look around. Notice these are the people who control your destiny when you get in their class. And bring apples, bring all kinds of things. We needed a very special person to lead this school. And it has to be a person who loves students, who values and appreciates faculty, who loves the Lord, who is very tough and yet very loving. Do you see the paradox in there? Very tough, very loving. And the Lord sent to us a young lady, really, who has an advanced degree, who has taught from college, secondary levels, who has led homeschooling, uniquely qualified at this moment in the life of our school to lead the upper school to an outstanding future. You guys are going to be part of that, we hope. And that is Miss Audrey Wood. She's the upper school principal. And would you come with all of your hair and all of your glory?
It is my pleasure today just to talk for a second or two about the school with you privately, right? Not right now, but to talk today about Tim for just a second. As you can tell from his speech, it is full of integrity. He has exemplified that as a student here at Tennessee Christian in the short time that I've known him. And it's fun as a teacher seeing somebody on the other side of the desk. You know, if you've ever had to give a presentation, you know how nerve-wracking it is just to be up here, even for a minute or two. So, excellent job. And wanted to say how rare it is to have a student in your class that you enjoy watching teach, you enjoy teaching, and you also would put anyone around. You hope your kids get to know this student. So, not only does Tim exemplify the integrity of a student, but also has shown you a little bit about a spiritual awakening that can happen. And just what a blessing it is to be around someone who realizes their faith and doesn't stop there and tries to put feet to it. So God obviously knew the plans he had for you, Tim. And we're blessed here to be included in those plans. So, on behalf of the faculty and the staff,
Cool, thank you.
It's also my pleasure to bring back Coach Bennett to give our main message this morning.
When I was a wee little kid, my mom and dad sent me, well, they moved us to Diamond Hook, from Jackson, Mississippi to Diamond Hook, Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi is the state capital. If you don't know that already, it might be on a test coming up, so write it down. It's the state capital of the grand state of Mississippi. And we lived in that grand city, but when I was tiny, I was so cute. My mom and dad moved me from the big city to what my grandmother called